this is L Squared, and these are some books that I've read that, well, in one case I don't want to get rid of it, but I gotta give it back to my mother. These are some books that I'm unhauling. Let me know in the comments below if you think that these are good books. Well, some of them I do think are good books, but they're going to my mother. Alright, so, starting it off, a lot of these I do have shorts about. Starting it off, The Kite Runner. This was a New York Times bestseller. I think it was in the mid-2000s. I've had this for a long time. And I was very excited to finally sit down and read it. And it was so good. And then the dad developed lung cancer. And that wouldn't have triggered me too bad. But then they start going into what the dad was experiencing to fight the lung cancer. And what the family, well, specifically the son, was going through when it comes to the cancer, with his dad fighting it. And it was too real, because I lost my father when I was a child to lung cancer. And the things described in this book is exactly what my dad went through and what my family went through while my dad was sick. And because it was so triggering, I had to stop. Like I said, it was beautifully written. I loved the characters. But the dad getting sick, I couldn't do it. I don't know what happens in the end. I don't want to know what happens. Lung cancer, at least I know for certain when this book was written, lung cancer was a death sentence. So, because of the massive trigger warning, like if you've lost somebody to cancer and you were there the whole way through for the battle, don't read this book. You will bawl your eyes out, and it will bring back all of the painful memories of what your loved one went through. So I did not finish this one. I will be passing this on to my used bookstore. Hopefully somebody can find it and enjoy it that won't be as triggered as I was with this. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. People are going to hate my thoughts on this one. I have done a short of this one. People on TikTok weren't very thrilled. They think I was too harsh. I've read a fair amount of fantasy. Like, I grew up with Harry Potter, obviously, The Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, Aragon, and there was a whole bunch of others along the way as well. And this, to me, felt like somebody took a whole bunch of fantasy novels, threw them in a blender, added a bunch of smut, and poured it on a plate and tried to serve it to you and call it pizza. That's how it felt to me. I was very excited to find this book. I found it at one of the discount stores. It wasn't used. It was brand new. And I was like, yes, this is like a huge thing. Everybody loves this. I got a quarter of the way through. The main character was absolutely insufferable, and it's one of those things of I wish I could just turn my brain off and enjoy a book, but I can't. I am critical of books and media, and I think about the things that are said and done, and especially fantasy world building is a huge thing. You can't just throw me into a fantasy world, say, ooh, it's fantasy, and not do any actual world building, or if you do world building, that's not logical. There's this massive war. There's no reason given for the massive war. You go to this college to learn how to be a dragon rider and all this stuff, and they need as many people as possible for this massive war. But at the college, mind you, it's a 4-year school, and they are taking people in their 3rd year to go to war. They are this desperate for dragon riders. But it's perfectly fine and normal to just kill your fellow students. That's fine. We don't need people for the war or anything. Like, it's just, there's so much stupid stuff in it. And like I said, if I could just turn my brain off and enjoy it, I probably would. But I couldn't turn my brain off and just be like, yeah, this is fine. Like, I was just like, no, this is stupid. Like, I think it's worse than just not world building at all. Like, you're building a world that doesn't make sense. Like, so yeah. There's so many other great dragon books out there. There's so many other romanticies out there that the world at least makes sense. Like, if you want a good romantasy series, pick up anything by Sarah J. Maas. I'm not a huge fan of hers. The one book I've read from her was Throne of Glass, and it was a slog for me. I could not get into it. I know a lot of people love it, but at least that world made sense, even if I didn't like Sarah J. Maas's writing style personally. But yeah, there's so many other books out there that have dragons. There's so many other books out there that have smut. There are so many other books out there that have magical schools or warrior schools or schools and learning about stuff. Like, you don't need this in your life. I promise, you don't need it on yourself. I might see if I can actually sell this one. I might be able to get a penny for it or something instead of hauling it off to the used bookstore, because it is in decent shape, even if it's not the fancy version with the sprayed edges. Sprayed, not splayed. By the way, I did not finish that. I got a quarter of the way through and I just couldn't do it anymore. I promise I do enjoy books. I'm just critical. Alright, up next, another DNF for me. This is The Fortunes of Texas number 9, Lone Star Wedding. If you're wondering why I picked up this book, despite the fact of, if you know me in real life, you know I don't like romantic songs, I don't like romantic movies, I don't like romance. I do have a life partner, he is wonderful. We're mostly just two bros hanging out the vast majority of the time. I don't really do romance. I'm basically aromantic, although I do want to have a life partner, and we do things, adult things. Anywho. But yeah, this was also a DNF. This one I inherited from my great aunt. She left all these, paperback, like, this one is Silhouette. I've got a bunch of Silhouette and Harlequin romances, because my great aunt would come and stay with my grandmother for like a month at a time, and she would read these, and she'd buy bunches of them. She had several series that she followed. They're basically like soap operas books, and she'd read them once, and she wouldn't take them with her when she went home, so she just piled them up on the shelf in her closet in my grandmother's house. And so I have like 100 of these. And I'm one of those people. I have come across a few that I did enjoy. Shocking, I know. But I am one of those, I want to give it a shot before getting rid of it. Like, I don't want to just assume I'm not going to like it. So this one I got, again, about 25% of the way through. I gave it the good old college try. And it's just not for me. And yeah, the love interest, this guy, like, I know she's just like, oh, he's hot, but he's so pushy, and he's so just, ugh. I don't have a video about this one, because I figured most people don't even know what this is, because this came out in, let's see. This one's copyright 1999, so it's vintage. Alright. Finally, we're getting one that I've actually finished. Huzzah! I promise I like to read. Coco by Peter Straub. I have heard great things about Peter Straub. I know he collaborates with Stephen King, and, like, he's one of the big horror authors that people are like, yeah, Peter Straub. Well, apparently I picked up his worst book, because even the Peter Straub fans are just like, yeah, this book isn't good. It was a slog to get through. I've got a video about it, and oh my god. I did not have a good time through any of this. This was just, yeah, I gave it 2 stars because, like, his writing wasn't bad. It was the story. Like, I couldn't connect to any of the characters. I couldn't really keep track of things because if I'm remembering correctly, it's like you were going into the minds of like 3 or 4 guys, and maybe it's because it was men that were in my father's generation that I couldn't relate, but yeah, it's like, it seemed like it was gonna be, like a murder mystery thing. They're trying to find this serial murderer, and I think the biggest thing for me is that murder mysteries are usually not this long. This is a 562-page book. And I think it was just, there was too much filler. There was just too much time wasting. Oh yeah, I think this is from the 80s, and there was a lot of racism, especially towards Asian populations. So if you're triggered by racism towards Asians, don't read this. I think that was another big thing that really put me off. It was just like, and we're going, and the story's okay, and oh, you just said something racist, as the author explaining the world, it's not like it was a character saying it. It was the author explaining how a different character looked, and things like that. And I don't know if he was trying to be overtly racist. I wasn't alive in the 80s, so I don't know, but I know things weren't as PC as people try to be nowadays. But yeah, the Asian stereotypes, it got under my skin, it made me uncomfortable, and I'm sitting here thinking, oh god, why is this doing this? Like, I've read other things that are older than this, and they weren't this way. Anywho, this one, as you can see, I got it used. I don't buy very many new books. This one's going to the used bookstore. Maybe there'll be a Peter Straub person that enjoys it. Alright, up next is Saving Fish from Drowning by Amy Tan. This is one that I did do a video on. I have determined I'm not a big fan of, like, literary fiction, apparently. Like, I thought I was. It's like, I enjoy things like by John Steinbeck and, like, Charles Dickens and, the classic writers. Oh, and Anuba Achebe. I tried to say his name. I have a fat southern tongue. I cannot pronounce names. Or other things. My tongue just does its own thing sometimes. But I have determined, this is my second book by Amy Tan, that I just don't like her writing style. I don't know, because I know she's, like, super popular, and it's like, I've read The Joy Luck Club. I did a video about that one as well, I think. And it's just, I don't know. I don't like her stuff. This, like, it started out so good for me, because it was like, okay, someone has murdered BB Chin. We're following BB Chin's ghost as she tries to figure out who murdered her. And then it's like, nope, joke's on you. We're doing something else now. So, yeah, I don't know if BB ever found out, who murdered her. I got halfway through this one. I really tried with this one. I was just like, okay. So here's another DNF. I promise I like to read. I do enjoy books. Alright, up next. This was one in my book club at work. This is Strange Bedfellows, Adventures in the Science, History, and Surprising Secrets of STDs, by Ina Park. This one I'm getting rid of just because I know I'm never going to read it again. I'm actually giving this one to my mother because back in the day, she was the STD secretary at the health department in my hometown. So, yeah, I was telling her about it, and she goes, oh, I want to read that. And I'm like, well, you can have it, Mom. You go right on ahead. I think she'll enjoy it. Granted, there was one thing in it that I don't really like the way the author described it. And, like, I was talking to some of the ladies that I work with that are nurses, and I was just like, so am I the only one who thought that they were describing, I'm going to call it BV because I don't know what is appropriate YouTube language, but BV, if you're a woman and you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, I thought this was just something that happened when your pH got off, or if you got sick and your immune system dropped suddenly. And, it just kind of happens. It's not like an STI. And they were like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's not an STI. And I'm like, okay. So, that was approached kind of strangely in this book. So, there's that. But I gave this one a 3 stars as well. I promise I like to read, guys. I promise. But I mean, it's also for me, it's like, it's nonfiction. It's hard for me to give really high or low ratings to nonfiction books because it's like, this is this lady's expertise and it's not mine. And her writing style was good. There was a lot of humor in this. There was one thing, I can't describe it here because it's YouTube, but there was one very not so YouTube friendly thing that she describes towards the end that I'm just like, I was cooking supper and I was listening to it. I listened to a lot of audiobooks. It's how I get through things quickly and how I am able to concentrate on things. I got stuff going on in my ear. I had to stop cooking and kind of turn away from the stove and laugh for a minute because I was just like, I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. I'm glad nobody's home with me. So, if you're an adult and you're interested in STIs, or if you're a nurse, or yeah, if you just want to learn some interesting things, this is for you. And, oh yeah, she describes why it's called the clap in here. Can't describe it here because it's YouTube. It's not YouTube friendly, but look it up. It's interesting. And you go, whoa, who would let somebody do that to them? Oh my goodness. Anywho, I think I have a video about this one as well, by the way. And last but not least, I love this cover. I hate that I have to give this back to my mother, but it's hers. So, because this for me, this is a cover keeper. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of this book, this is not his strongest car book. Definitely go with Christine. But if you have read Christine, and you want another car book by Stephen King, this is it. This is a sci-fi car book. This is From a Buick 8 by Stephen King. I have a video out about this one, and I gave this 3 stars. It was fine. It wasn't his strongest work to me, based on other ratings that I've seen online. I go into all books blind, by the way. I don't look at ratings before I read them. Like, I'll see hype, like, Fourth Wing. It was everywhere. You know, it's gotta be good if it's everywhere. But yeah, so I try to go into books blind, so I don't know what I'm in for, and afterwards I read some of the reviews, and I'm like, okay, so I'm glad I'm not alone, because I'm like, is it just me? Like, why am I not liking this? Because, like, I've read a fair amount of Stephen King, and usually his stuff is at least 4 stars, if not 5 for me, because, like, it's Stephen King. There's a reason why the horror book talk girlies, I don't know what they're called. There's a reason why they're all crazy for Stephen King. He is an excellent writer. And like I said, this wasn't bad. It just wasn't his strongest work. But yeah, if you wanted to read about an alien car and, you know, you can get the 2002 edition with the dope cover, go for it. Yeah. So, I've read a lot more books lately, but these are just the ones that I'm going to be getting rid of. So, that's 1, 2 that I have to give to my mother. I hate that I have to give away the Stephen King one, but it's hers. Maybe if I ask nicely, she'll let me have it one day. Whoops. Alright, so I'm taking these to the used bookstore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you think of my unhaul? What do you think of the books that I wasn't a big fan of or just straight up didn't like? I promise I finish books. I have read like 2,000 books and since being an adult, and I've only not finished like 110 of them. So I promise the like 4 books in a row that I DNF'd, that's not typical for me. This year has been a bit of a reading slump type of year for me personally. So it is what it is. Oh, there's Lenore. That's my cat. One of them. Anywho, tell me what you thought in the comments. Did you like these books? Do you want to pick up any of these? Was I too harsh on Fourth Wing? Does it get better after the 25% mark? The world wants to know.